in our first story, Facebook whistleblower, Frances Haugen, went before the Senate yesterday and did a great job. I think she was well-spoken and I think moderate in her proposed solutions for the challenges of social media. Facebook circled the wagons and came out swinging. And in fact, many of the Facebook surrogates, the people who are one or two steps removed from Facebook, were out there attacking her, including their PR team. We should be clear about what her goals are. And I think that's part of this. We are obviously now entering the phase of attack the messenger and let's figure out what the messenger's motivation is, right? And I guess that's valid, right? You do have to think about who is making these claims. Why are they making these claims? Why are they making these claims now? And maybe what are they hoping to get out of this? Sometimes you will see this and somebody is got an axe to grind. Maybe they were fired. Maybe they didn't get their stock options. They didn't get a promotion. Or sometimes it's virtuous and they are doing this because they believe it's in the best interest of society, or maybe they have some ideological position. But let's hear it from Frances herself. A 1-minute clip, and I'll talk to you on the other side.
During my time at Facebook, I came to realize a devastating truth. Almost no one outside of Facebook knows what happens inside of Facebook. The company intentionally hides vital information from the public, from the US government, and from governments around the world. The documents I have provided to Congress prove that Facebook has repeatedly misled the public about what its own research reveals about the safety of children, the efficacy of its artificial intelligence systems, and its role in spreading divisive and extreme messages. As long as Facebook is operating in the shadows, hiding its research from public scrutiny, it is unaccountable. Until the incentives change, Facebook will not change. These problems are solvable. A safer, free speech respecting, more enjoyable social media is possible. But there's one thing that I hope everyone takes away from these disclosures. It is that Facebook can change, but is clearly not going to do so on its own. Congress can change the rules that Facebook plays by and stop the many harms it is now causing. We now know the truth about Facebook's destructive impact.
Okay, this is, I think, critically important. Number one, she believes the problems are solvable. She's credible and believes the problems are solvable. So she is not asking for Facebook to be broken up. She is actually saying we can make a social media landscape that is less polarized and that is safer for everybody, and that maybe doesn't have downstream effects on mental illness or politics, elections, misinformation. She's an expert on the subject. She's highly credible, and she believes it's solvable. I actually think it's less solvable. I think this is just one of these problems that, we've never had as a society. I don't know, billions of people on these platforms. Even if it was tens of millions of people, there's never been a town square that's 10 million people and that one tweet or one TikTok or one story on Instagram or Snapchat could become the number one media object in the world. Same thing with YouTube. This has never existed in the history of humanity. She thinks it's solvable. I think it's less solvable, than she does. And her solution for solving it. Let's talk about that second piece. So A, she believes it's solvable. B, her solution is not breaking up Facebook. It's forcing Facebook to be more transparent and to publish all their research. So that is very interesting to me. This is not the AOC, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, all rich people are bad, all capitalism is bad, giant conglomerates are bad, break them up, regulate them, tax them, shut them down. She's clearly not part of that camp. You do not get the Bernie bro, Elizabeth Warren, AOC squad vibe from her, do you? You don't get an anti-tech vibe from her either. The vibe I'm getting is let's work together to solve this. So when she gets more specific, she says, listen, Congress should have a regulatory body where people like her can work on making algorithms safer. Anybody disagree with that? Anybody disagree that something this powerful and unprecedented should have some regulation? I mean, I'm not for over-regulation, but we're in a situation where there's no regulation. And you've got to remember with Facebook is, I wouldn't say left or right leaning. They're Peter Thiel leaning when it comes down to it. Zuckerberg and Thiel and that whole crew are very much in favor of no regulation. And they're kind of Ayn Randian in their objectivist. You can look up those fancy words. It basically means people should be, talented people should be allowed to do what they want and not be stopped by people in their ivory towers like politicians or the media or professors, right? They are anti-cathedral, and they're, more about the marketplace and the bazaar. Not bizarre as in strange, but the bizarre as in the marketplace of ideas. But I think for the rest of us, cigarettes, maybe we should regulate those a little bit. And the vape pens, there should be some regulation there. Those are pretty bad for society. Social media, it's having some weird effects. We should definitely think about it because the Russians are using it to screw with the elections. We should definitely have some regulation there. Her second idea is just publish all the research. I mean, is anybody against that? I mean, the only people who I could think would be against that is people who want to front run the research, like the internal people at Facebook. I mean, I think the reason Facebook is doing the research is twofold. One, they care. I do actually think that they care about what the research says. But two, I think they want to control the research and they want to control the researchers. So this is like, keep your enemies closer kind of situation for Facebook. If they bring the researchers in-house and they're funding them and they work for them, well, then they can keep this from escaping and they can control it and they can front run it, which is exactly what they did with this research. They are front running this research. They are massaging it. And that is why this person felt like they needed to front run, or they needed to leak the front running of the information. Does that make sense? I think we can all kind of see what Facebook is doing there. Buy the researchers, bring them in-house, and it's not great that you're paying for research that is working against you, which was Zuckerberg's reply, and we'll get into his response. Like, why would we pay for this? Why would we pay for research if we didn't care? It's a pretty good defense, I'll be totally honest, and it's half true, I think. I think they do want to know, and they do want to pay for this research because it is helpful for them. And I do think, they do have, I wouldn't say they have the users and the citizens' best interests in mind. I think they think first about the size of their company and the growth of it. And I think second, they do think about the customers, but it's in that order. So this is a very interesting strategy and a highly effective one. In today's startup landscape, committing to security and compliance is vital for growth, and proof of your company's security posture has never been more important. As you scale, you might start to receive more SOC 2 requests from customers, and that's where Drata comes in. Drata is an advanced automation platform used by some of the world's leading chief information security officers, or CISOs. Drata will help you successfully meet requirements, support enterprise deal flow, and continually track compliance. Drata also helps customers easily prepare for and clear SOC 2 and other audits, so you can go from zero to audit ready in a matter of weeks. Need more? Take it from Philip Martin, Chief Security Officer at Coinbase. And here's his quote. "It became clear to me right away that Drata is an engineering powerhouse. The solution they've developed is well ahead of other market players. Their approach to deep native integrations provides users with the most advanced automation available." So check out Drata's 5-star reviews on G2 and see why companies like ClearClose, SmartRecruiter, and the Good Face Project work with Drata for their compliance needs. Twist listeners can get 15% off and waived implementation fees at drata.com/twist, DRATA.com/twist.